One day, you're going to look back at this exact moment, and you'll realize the pain you felt was nothing compared to the regret you're carrying now. Stress fades, regret doesn't. So before you walk away, before you quit, before you give up, hear me out. Because the decision you make after this video could be the one that defines the rest of your life. Stress will not kill you, but regret will. You think stress is the enemy, but it's not. It's the warning light on your dashboard telling you that you're in motion, that you're pushing towards something worth having. Stress is the sound of your heart still beating, your dreams still fighting for space in a world that wants to crush them. But regret is the silence after you've stopped trying. It's the echo of all the chances you didn't take, the words you didn't speak, the life you didn't live. And here's the cruel truth: stress fades, regret stays. You'll forget the long nights you worked until your eyes burned. You'll forget the fear that gripped your stomach before a big risk. You'll forget the trembling hands before you spoke up, fought back, stood your ground. But you will never, for as long as you breathe, forget the time you stayed quiet, when you should have shouted, the moment you walked away when you should have stayed, the opportunity you let die because it felt too hard. That's the trap most people fall into. They avoid stress like it's poison, and in doing so they sip regret like it's water. They chase comfort, thinking it's the cure for their anxiety, not realizing that comfort is the breeding ground of regret. You can lie in bed and avoid the world today, but one day you'll lie in bed wishing you had just gotten up, taken the hit, and lived. Stress is the toll you pay for building a future. Regret is the bill you pay for destroying it. And the irony? Stress is temporary, it passes. Your heart slows down, your breath steadies, you adapt, you grow stronger. But regret rots. It burrows into your mind. It wakes you at 3 a.m., it whispers every time you think about what could have been. And unlike stress, it doesn't get lighter, it gets heavier. So the next time you feel your chest tighten, your mind race, your palms sweat, don't run from it. Lean in. That's not the feeling of dying, that's the feeling of living. It's your body saying, we are in the fight, we are in the game, we are not sitting this one out. Because one day you will wish for this stress again, when all that's left is the cold, hollow feeling of knowing you had your shot and you didn't take it. But living with the weight of I could've, I should've, will eat you alive from the inside. Most people run from stress like it's a curse, when in reality, stress is just the down payment for a future you actually want. It's uncomfortable, yes. It's exhausting, yes. But it's not permanent. What's permanent is waking up one day, looking in the mirror, and realizing you let fear, laziness, or temporary discomfort rob you of a life you could have lived. You won't remember the late nights or the hard work as pain. You'll remember them as the moments you were building something worth living for. But regret is a disease with no cure. The truth is, stress is a sign you're alive. It's the pressure that comes from carrying weight, and weight only exists when you're lifting something valuable. Stress means you're moving, you're growing, you're stretching beyond the limits you once thought defined you. But regret is the weight you can't drop. It's the haunting voice that says, if only I had tried harder, if only I had pushed through one more day, if only I had not quit. That voice gets louder as you age, and by then it's not just a whisper, it's a scream. When you choose to escape stress, you're not choosing peace, you're choosing comfort. And comfort is a slow poison. It doesn't kill you overnight, it just keeps you numb until one day you realize your dreams have expired. That's the trap most people fall into. They think avoiding stress is self-care, but really it's self-sabotage dressed up as wisdom. The most successful people you admire aren't stress-free. They've just decided that the weight of discipline is lighter than the weight of regret. Stress is the storm you face today, but regret is the prison you live in for the rest of your life. You think the pressure you're under right now is unbearable, but here's the truth. Pressure passes, deadlines pass, sleepless nights pass, the fear you feel in the pit of your stomach fades. What doesn't fade is the ache of looking back and knowing you had a chance to fight, but you chose comfort instead. What doesn't fade is the voice in your head years from now whispering, if only you tried, if only you held on a little longer. People run from stress like it's the enemy, but stress is just the weight that forges your strength. Regret, on the other hand, is the slow poison that eats away at your soul day after day. Stress tests you for a season. Regret sentences you for life. Every great victory you've ever heard about was born in stress. Every person you admire has walked through nights of doubt, moments where quitting looked easier, days where they thought they weren't cut out for it. But they kept going because they understood one thing. The pain of discipline and effort is nothing compared to the pain of looking back and realizing they threw their shot away. You can push through stress, you can breathe through it, work through it, crawl through it if you have to, but you can't undo regret. You can't rewind and give yourself a second chance. Once the moment is gone, it's gone, and you will have to live with the haunting thought that you didn't even try. The truth is, stress is a sign you're doing something that matters. You don't feel stressed scrolling on your phone for hours. You don't feel stressed wasting your weekends on things that don't build you. You feel stressed when you're on the edge of growth, when you're building something you've never built before, when the stakes are high enough to scare you. That's not a reason to stop. It's the reason to keep going. That fear, that pressure, that pounding heart, it means you're in the right place. But here's what most people do. They mistake that feeling for danger, so they run. They trade the short-term relief of escaping stress for the long-term torment of wishing they had stayed in the fight. One day, you will stand in the future and think about the person you are right now. And in that moment, you will either thank yourself for enduring this season, or you will resent yourself for letting it break you. The project you're hesitating to finish, the risk you're afraid to take, the conversation you keep postponing, those aren't just tasks. They're forks in the road. Down one path is stress. Down the other is regret. One will make you sweat, the other will make you weep. You choose. If you can see beyond the moment, if you can zoom out and realize this season of pressure is temporary, you will endure. And when you do, you will step into the kind of future that people dream about. But if you choose to escape, you will spend your life staring at a door you never opened, knowing that the key was in your hand the whole time. Stress is hard, but it ends. Regret doesn't. That's why the most dangerous thing you can do is make a permanent decision to quit based on a temporary feeling to stop. Stress in the moment feels like a storm you'll never escape. Your heart races, your mind tightens, your chest feels heavy. Every second feels like an eternity. But here's the truth no one tells you when you're in it. Storms pass, the rain stops, the weight lifts, the stress you're feeling right now will not last forever. Yet too many people let a temporary storm dictate permanent choices. They quit on their dreams because the pressure feels unbearable. They walk away from opportunities because the moment is uncomfortable. And in doing so, they trade a short-term discomfort for a lifelong ache called regret. The difference is simple but devastating. Stress fades, regret doesn't. Stress tests you for a season, but regret changes you for a lifetime. When you back down because something feels heavy, that relief you feel in the moment is deceptive. You'll tell yourself, I feel better now, but deep down you know you've abandoned something you once believed in. And as the years pass, that quiet voice in your head will grow louder, reminding you of the moment you chose comfort over courage. That's the haunting truth about regret. It doesn't just live in your past, it walks beside you every day, whispering, what if? People forget that stress is actually a sign you're alive in the game, that you're stretching beyond your limits, that you're in motion towards something greater. Stress means you care. It means the stakes matter. It means you're not drifting aimlessly through life, but actively building something worth the wait. But regret? Regret is lifeless. It's stillness. It's the empty echo of potential never realized. And no amount of distraction, no amount of excuses can silence it once it settles in your soul. The sad part is that most people don't see the trade they're making in the moment. They think they're just taking the easy road this time. They think they'll get another shot, another chance, another window to step up. But life isn't that generous. Windows close. Opportunities expire. And once they're gone, they rarely come back in the same way. What was once just too much pressure becomes the memory of the chance you'll never get again. You have to understand, stress is part of the process of becoming someone you're proud of. It's the tension between who you are and who you're trying to be. It's your mind and body resisting the change they're not yet comfortable with. But that discomfort, that's the gym for your character. That's the fire that forges strength. The very stress you're trying to run from is the thing that's trying to prepare you for the life you keep praying for. If you run from stress, you're running from growth. And every time you do, you're laying another brick in the wall called regret. Years later, you'll look at that wall and realize it's blocking the view of the life you could have had. That's the price. And it's a price you'll keep paying every single day you live with the thought, if only I had held on a little longer. Stress is a storm, but regret is a prison. You can outlast a storm, you can stand in the rain, let the thunder roar, and still see the sky clear in the morning. But regret builds walls around you. It keeps you locked in the memory of what you didn't do, what you didn't say, what you were too afraid to try. It doesn't let you move forward because every step forward reminds you of the steps you didn't take when it mattered most. And here's the cruel truth. Stress fades with time, but regret grows sharper. Years later, the things that once made your chest heavy and your nights sleepless will mean nothing. But the opportunities you let slip away, they will still whisper your name in the quiet, reminding you of who you could have been. When you're in the middle of stress, your mind exaggerates it. It feels like the world is ending, like this moment will define you forever. But what if you zoomed out? What if you could see your life 10 years from now? Would you even remember the details of this stressful day? Probably not, but you would remember if you gave up because of it. You'd remember if you walked away from something that could have changed everything for you, simply because it was uncomfortable. This is why strong people endure stress. They know it's temporary, like a passing cloud. They know the pain of pushing through is nothing compared to the pain of living with the knowledge that they quit. And here's what most people get wrong. They think avoiding stress means avoiding pain, but it's the opposite. Avoiding stress is choosing long-term pain over short-term discomfort. That's like refusing to lift weights because it's hard, and then spending the rest of your life too weak to carry what you need. It's like turning down the opportunity of a lifetime because it scared you, and then watching someone else live the life you wanted. The truth is, the pain of stress is an investment. It pays you back with growth, strength, and confidence. The pain of regret is a debt. It drains you, it chains you, and it never stops collecting. And I'll tell you something brutal. There will come a day when the thing stressing you right now will seem small. But if you let that stress stop you, the regret will feel enormous. You will look back and realize the moment you thought was breaking you was actually building you. You will realize the pressure you wanted to escape was the exact force you needed to shape you into someone unbreakable. But by the time you see that, the window will be closed and the chance will be gone. Regret is a cruel teacher. It doesn't arrive in the moment, it waits. It hides in the shadows while you go about your life, convincing yourself that skipping this opportunity, avoiding that risk, or staying in your comfort zone is harmless. You think you're protecting yourself from stress, from discomfort, from uncertainty, but regret is patient. It knows it doesn't have to fight you today, because one day when the door you didn't walk through is gone forever, when the person you love has moved on, when the dream you once had is too far out of reach, regret will pull up a chair next to you and whisper, "This is what you chose." And by then, there is no undo button, no second chance. You'll wish you could go back to the days when stress was your biggest problem because stress fades, but regret stays with you like a scar carved into your soul. Stress, no matter how intense, is temporary because it lives in the present. It's connected to a situation, a moment, a challenge that will eventually pass. You've been stressed before and you've survived, you've been under pressure, and you've come out the other side. Even when it feels unbearable, stress is just a storm, loud, wild, and consuming. But storms move on. Regret is different. Regret doesn't pass, it settles. It builds a home in your mind and replays the same scene over and over again, making you wonder what could have been. And the more time passes, the heavier it gets. Stress can push you to grow, to act, to fight. Regret just pulls you down and reminds you of all the moments you didn't have the courage to try. The cruelest thing about regret is that it always costs more than stress ever could. Stress might take your sleep for a few nights. Regret will take your peace for years. Stress might make your heart race for an hour. Regret will make your heart ache for a lifetime. And here's the hard truth. Most of the things that cause you stress right now will one day mean nothing. But the things you didn't do because you were afraid of that stress, those will haunt you. You'll remember the time you didn't speak up when you should have. The time you let fear win. The time you chose comfort over courage. And the irony is, in trying to avoid the discomfort of stress, you walk straight into the far greater pain of regret. If you can understand this now, you'll start making decisions differently. You'll stop asking, how can I avoid this stress, and start asking, will I regret not doing this? That one question changes everything. Because you'll see that the pain of effort, the discomfort of the unknown, the weight of responsibility, all of these fade. You'll recover, you'll move on. But the missed opportunities, the unlived experiences, the dreams you didn't chase, those are permanent losses. And you don't get to bargain with time. Stress will test your patience, your discipline, and your endurance. It will feel like the walls are closing in, like every choice is too heavy to make, and like you're barely holding it together. But stress, no matter how big, no matter how sharp, passes. The moment you push through, the clouds part. The day comes when you look back and think, that wasn't as impossible as it felt at the time. But regret doesn't pass. It doesn't fade on its own. It doesn't let you breathe freely again. It stays like a shadow following you into every decision you make after. You can't shake it off, because regret is a prison built in the mind, a prison where you are the guard and the prisoner. And here's the cruel part. Stress and regret often come from the same crossroads. You either face the stress now, or you face the regret later. There's no avoiding the price. You just choose when to pay it. Face the difficult conversation now, or regret never speaking your truth. Put in the work now, or regret the wasted years. Take the risk now, or regret wondering what could have been. Life gives you these moments, and it doesn't wait for you to feel ready. You're never ready. You either step into the storm, or you watch your future shrink because you couldn't handle the rain. When you truly understand this, stress stops being the enemy. It becomes the proof that you're still in the game. It becomes the sign that you're doing something that matters, something worth struggling for. You can survive stress. It bends you, but it doesn't break you. Regret, on the other hand, is silent and slow. It rots your spirit from the inside out. It convinces you to settle for less, to lower your expectations, to live on autopilot. That's why people wake up at 40, 50, 60 years old with a bitter taste in their mouth, wondering where their life went. They didn't lose it to stress. They lost it to the regret of never taking their shot. If you can push through today's stress, you get tomorrow's peace. But if you run from it, you trade that peace for a lifetime of what if. So when life feels heavy, when your body is tired and your mind wants to quit, remember this: it's temporary. It's a storm, and storms always pass. But regret, that's the drought that can last a lifetime. And here's what most people don't realize. Stress, no matter how intense, is always in motion. It doesn't stay, it passes. Think about the last time you faced something you thought you couldn't handle. Maybe it was a deadline at work, a breakup, a financial crisis, or a health scare. At the time, it felt like your whole world was shaking. You couldn't breathe. You thought, this is it, I can't get through this. But here you are, still standing. That storm ended. The clouds cleared. You survived. The pain might have left a scar, but it didn't stay forever. Stress is like a wave. It crashes hard, it drenches you, but it eventually pulls back. Regret, on the other hand, doesn't work that way. Regret is a stain. Once it's there, you can't wash it out. You can move forward, you can heal, but you can never fully erase the thought. I could have done something, I could have tried harder, I could have taken that chance. That's why so many people, when they're old and looking back at their lives, don't talk about the moments they were stressed. They talk about the moments they didn't act. They talk about the dreams they buried. They talk about the love they didn't fight for, the opportunity they let pass, the words they never spoke. Stress burns for hours or days, regret burns for years. And when that reality hits you, you start to see that most of the things stressing you today are not worth sacrificing your future peace for. Because here's the truth, you'll forget the sleepless nights and the pounding heart, but you will never forget walking away from something that mattered because it was too hard. So the next time you're at that breaking point, when your body screams quit and your mind whispers run, I want you to remember something. This moment is temporary. One day you'll barely remember it, but what you will remember is what you chose to do in it. Did you push through, or did you let it break you? Stress can't kill you the way regret will, because regret doesn't just live in your mind, it infects your soul. It rewrites the story of who you could have been. It makes you question everything you are. The choice is yours. Face the fire now, or live in the shadow of what could have been forever. The first step to overcoming stress without letting it destroy you is to stop giving it the power to dictate your decisions. Stress is like an uninvited guest. It will always knock, sometimes even barge in, but it only stays as long as you let it. The problem is, most people don't just let stress visit. They hand it the keys to the house. They stop thinking clearly. They stop taking calculated risks, and they start making decisions purely out of fear. If you want to win, you must learn to see stress for what it truly is, a signal, not a sentence. It's your mind's alarm telling you that something matters, that something is at stake. Instead of running from it, sit with it. Ask yourself, what exactly is this feeling trying to teach me? Often it's not telling you to quit, it's telling you to prepare, to focus, to step up. The second step is to control your breathing and your state before you control your situation. Most people try to fix their problems while still in a state of panic, and that's like trying to fix a car engine while it's on fire. Nothing good will come from it. The truth is, your body and mind are linked. If your breathing is shallow, your thoughts will be chaotic. If your body is tense, your perspective will shrink. That's why the most successful leaders, athletes, and entrepreneurs train themselves to slow down their breathing in moments of chaos. They create space between the stress and their decision. In that space, clarity grows. You can do this anywhere. Inhale deeply for 4 seconds. Hold for 4, exhale for 4, and repeat. This small act reminds your nervous system that you're not in danger, you're in control. The third step is to focus on the outcome, not the obstacle. Most people fail because they become obsessed with the problem instead of the prize. They replay worst-case scenarios in their mind like a broken record, and then wonder why they feel paralyzed. You must reverse that. When stress shows up, instead of asking, what if I fail, ask, what if this works? Visualize the finish line in detail. The relief you'll feel, the opportunity you'll gain, the pride of knowing you didn't give up. Your mind will start creating solutions instead of excuses. This is how warriors think in battle. They keep their eyes locked on victory, not the enemy charging at them. The fourth step is to break the mountain into steps. Stress always feels bigger when you look at the entire problem at once. It's like staring at the peak of Everest from the bottom. It looks impossible, but if you break it down into one small climb at a time, suddenly it becomes manageable. Ask yourself, what is one thing I can do right now to move forward? Just one. Then do it. The completion of one small step will give you momentum, and momentum kills fear. Over time, those small steps compound into victories. The fifth step is to anchor yourself to a higher why. Stress is always heavier when your only goal is to survive the moment. But when you attach your effort to a deeper reason, your family, your dreams, your future, you gain a kind of strength. Stress can't break. Remind yourself, I'm not just pushing through for today, I'm pushing through for the life I said I wanted. Suddenly, the pressure becomes a privilege because it's proof that you're in the arena fighting for something that matters. And lastly, you must accept that discomfort is the toll you pay for a life worth living. Too many people see stress as a sign they're on the wrong path, when in reality it's proof they're on the right one. Easy paths lead to empty lives. Difficult paths lead to meaningful ones. You can either choose the short-term comfort of quitting or the long-term pride of enduring. Every time you feel the weight of stress pressing on you, remember it's temporary. It will pass, but if you let it make your decisions for you, the regret will be permanent. The truth is, stress will come and go like passing storms. Some days it will pour so hard you can't see the road ahead, and other days it will be nothing more than a light drizzle in the background. But regret is a climate. It stays. It changes the very landscape of your life. And the only way to ensure you never live under the shadow of regret is to act, to decide, to push forward, even when every muscle in your body screams for rest and every voice in your head whispers, wait for the perfect time. There is no perfect time. There is only now, this fragile, fleeting moment that will be gone in seconds. You don't get to choose when you feel ready, but you do get to choose whether you'll look back with pride or with pain. And years from now, when you're older and your body slows but your mind still remembers, you will thank yourself for every single time you kept going when it would have been easier to quit. So take the step, make the call, start the work, live in a way that leaves no room for what if, because stress fades, but regret is forever.